he's gaining a little self-confidence being away from me. So he was going to come up here and get real clingy, and I said, no, go ahead and move your feet out away from me. So that's kind of where we're starting. And there we go. I'm starting to develop a means of communication with a horse that has been somewhat humanized. I'm careful about how I choose my words. They're somewhat humanized. Means to me that this horse has been numbed to his natural instincts. If this was truly a wild horse, I wouldn't have to flap this flag to get him to get away. He's going to instinctively be out there looking back in. So we kind of got to remind him again how to be like a horse. He is essentially a human inside of a horse's body here right now, and his quietness and coming in and getting too close to me is indicative of a horse that is lacking in respect. So in order to regain the respect, we've got to get him to where when we move, he moves his feet. See him getting easier now to send him out on the outside. And notice how he's kind of tucking his nose and flipping his head a little bit as he's going out here. That's indicative of a horse that's a little uncomfortable. So I'm going to send him here just a little bit harder. See that tucking of the nose right over here was like if I just asked a teenager to take the trash out. How dare you ask me to do something I don't want to do? And that's kind of what happens when these horses get in and get close. They become in control of their feet. So I'm gonna just keep sending him away for a little bit here. See, I didn't tell him to turn back this way. I told him to keep going, and he was going to say, I don't believe you mean what you say. So I'm establishing a sort of a ground rule. How many of you have ever been in school and you sat there in the classroom with a teacher that you get to know, and then sometimes they get replaced with substitute teachers? And don't you know the minute that the substitute teacher walks in the room, how much you can get away with? You think these horses don't know? I'm the substitute teacher right here, so I'm establishing ground rule. I would probably be the one that they'd talk about in the hallway about how mean they are. How dare that teacher make me mine? I like the attitude that we got there. But he went out there and left. He's outside of the pen right now, but he's doing what I want. He came back into me, but he stopped doing what I want. I just want him walking along there. Now he's outside the pen. Now he's back in. See, I'm watching that horse's eye, and where he's looking tells me a lot about where his thoughts are. Now he's kind of coming down on earth a little bit. He got over there where it's... You see how little it takes to get his feet moving here? Quite a bit. See him pin his ears like, how dare you do that? He could have left real easily, but all I'm trying to do here is establish that when I say something, I mean what I say. And if I say something to him and I don't back it up, then he says, another one. There's another one I can run over. I don't have to listen to this guy either. So that's all I'm trying to do right now is establish some communication. I want him to come back through this way. I see this a lot of times too, but folks will come in and they'll be pointing like this. That don't mean anything to this horse. So I've got to get over here and get in this left eye and put some pressure off over here. That meant something. Now I'm assuming the position right here behind his shoulder, essentially what my left leg would be if I was on this horse. And we're going on down the track here. I'm going to back off here a little bit and let him come down. I didn't want him facing up yet. See, he's learned how to face up to control you. See that every time he stops, he wants to come in and do that. I like that, but I want it to be my idea. If it's his idea, it's in control. Very good, very good. You see, it took less to get him to move his feet that time. Then he left me. When he completely leaves me, that's when you see his back hollow out and his head come up, and he's real insecure. And that's when we're riding him here in a little bit, if he does that, that's a real vulnerable feeling right there, because when that back comes up and the nose goes out, the back goes down, we lose all sense of control to the feet. So how he's carrying himself is going to make a lot of difference here in a little bit. Now we're getting some level of understanding. Very good. I want him to just stop and stay parallel to me right there. I don't mind that he's looking off a little bit. I'm going to let him have some time in that. He's licking and chewing right now. It won't be too much longer. His head will come down. There it is. He'll take a deep breath. Now we're getting some semblance of respect to show up at a distance in this horse. Very good right now. I'm going to go up and touch him. More than likely, when I walk away, he'll come with me. So, now look at that. You see where he's stopping and staying right now? He snuck up in there a little close, but his first thought was the correct one. Stay back from that guy. That's a huge deal right there in a horse that's insecure. If we can't get them to honor us with what they're doing with their feet, we'll have a hard time establishing much more communication. So for time's sake now, if I was home, this might be all I would do to him a day. Is just get that and be satisfied with that. For time's sake, we're going to go on with a little bit more, okay? So when I'm catching a horse, if he's ignoring me like that and I walk over there and catch him, he would get me to move my feet. If he'll come over here and acknowledge me right there, don't come in. He's not paying attention to me. I'm going to move his front feet over here just a little bit. What I'm deterring here just a little bit, I like that he wanted to come in, I do, but I didn't tell him to come in. So I just realized that I'm going to go ahead and put a halter on him, but if I had more time, I would address that and get him to stand there and wait for me to tell him to come in. And I think that's an important thing. You see him just want to stick his head up and look around here. Right now, these are opportunities for a horse to push you. These are opportunities for a horse to step on you and do all sorts of things that we don't. So I'm going to establish a little bit of respect here on the ground with the line. Essentially the same thing I was doing without the halter on. I've gotten bigger. I've told him to move, and he just stands there and doesn't pay any attention to me. He doesn't have to feel this end of this lead rope if he'll just respond. They're right there, you see. Then he doesn't have to feel the lead rope, but he didn't believe me. So I'm just establishing some communication here. I like that. What I like was he acknowledged my presence. He stepped up there, respectfully stopped, and asked me what I wanted him to do next. He didn't come in and just blatantly move his feet and come right up into it. So the horse told me in that body posture and how he was looking that I have become something that he can look to and have a little bit of respect for. It isn't come all the way over yet, but it's a little closer than it was when we started. Who knows what he's looking at up there? When they stick that nose up and just start towering over the top of you, the next thing you know, they run over you. And it'll be for some ridiculous reason, like a cat walked through the arena over here or something. You don't have to be any kind of a threat really to them. And he keeps bringing that nose around, touching me with his nose. Does he know what treats are? He gets a carrot. Okay. The kind of the treat doesn't matter. The fact is, feeding the horse out of your hand creates this. And we're going to find a different way to treat this horse, and it won't be with food. See, there's a line right here, and if he keeps coming into that line, and I let him come through, I'm just saying go ahead and do whatever you want. But if I create that line, he knows where it is, and he can stand over there and be quiet. And that's not too much to ask. He'll spend 99% of his time loose doing whatever he wants to do. When he's in your presence, he's got to do what you want to do, okay? What I'm doing there, I didn't tell him to move his feet. He just shouldered into me and essentially ran over me right there. So we got to get him backed up. I don't like to do this much just on the end or just right after saddling him, but he didn't give me a choice. If I ignore that, I'm just basically saying you can do whatever you want to do. Does that make sense to you? I get a little funny twitch in my elbow when I see that nose coming around and he's about to decide that it's all right. Okay, now let's see what we've got. Let's move him around here just a little bit. Just reinforcing that when I ask you to do something, I'm not kidding. He's seeing me ask him to do something. He's feeling me asking me to do something, and he's blatantly ignoring me. So I give him one signal, two signals, and then I follow up with a demand. The demand on the heels of two preparatory commands does not offend them. It's like they're warnings that this is coming. He doesn't know that yet. He's starting to get the idea that when this guy moves, I need to think about doing something, because his follow-up is more than I really want to deal with from him. The reason that I keep getting him to step back right there is when he makes that turn and faces up, then he's shouldering up and he's trying to reestablish his control over me. So, especially for an insecure horse, we've got to have him where he's comfortable by himself, that he doesn't need to be clingy to a person or another horse. So this is the beginning stage. We got to have some tools to get down to his feet. We got to be able to bring the energy up and have it show up out there in the form of acceptance. Very nice. Till that. But his first choice was correct. I'll just move his front feet back just a little bit here, there. Let him sit there. Now, I've been on this side of his body less time than I've been on the other side, and I'm sure most people have spent more time on the other side. So this side is going to be a little more pure, a little more horse-like than the other side. They learn, they're creatures of habit, and if they get something figured out that's working for them, and what has worked for this horse is to control people by sticking his nose up and pushing through. Here I just want to create a situation where I can go from, I'm in his right eye right now, put that rope on the other side, and I'll have him turn away from me. See him thinking he wants to come this way. He's trying to think his way through, looking for a way. There, he made it through. Do that again. The changing of the eyes is a big deal. See, he doesn't want to turn loose here. I'm waiting on him to there he turned loose, and there he come through. Let's go again. He's going to leave. Here's the opportunity to put that rope over his head. Put it out there. Just do that again. And I don't want him troubled about this at all. I want him to just respond to that feel. See, he leaned into the feel first, pushed on it, and then he came off and found his way through. I'm going to repeat this again until he finds his way. There. Whenever I say there when I'm working with a horse, it means that horse has moved his feet in the way that I pre-decided I wanted him to move his feet. For those of you that weren't here yesterday, when I found out what the importance of doing this is, the days of getting bucked off went way down. Because when you're changing eyes, if I'm getting ready to get on this horse, I'm in his left eye, and I'll do everything up here. And if I haven't programmed him, so to speak, to be able to go from left eye to right eye, he might look around and all of a sudden see my foot over here on the right side and get surprised by it and then be in trouble. This also gives them an opportunity to get comfortable. See, he wanted to just swing his hind end out of the way and decide where he was going to go. What I'm also able to do here with this is let him see that when he does my suggestion, he's going to step into release. If he tries to do his thing, it's going to cause him to be, he runs into pressure. See how much easier things are getting here now? So he's got some establishment of communication from the halter down to his feet. And can you see his attitude changing here as we move that around? Now, this is a look of a respectful horse here. He's standing there kind of soft-eyed. His head came down. He's not thinking about moving his feet. He's waiting on me to tell him to move his feet. He doesn't mind me throwing this rope over his head now because he knows I'm not doing that to hurt him. So he's gotten desensitized to that. See him just follow that feel now. Then I can move the back feet. And then the front end's going to come through. Very good. So we've got some groundwork established here, a little bit of some communication to his feet. So let's put a bridle on here now and get on and see what happens.